Am I the asshole for not giving up my seat and embarrassing the woman who demanded my seat? A few years ago I lost my left leg in an accident. I've been using a prosthetic leg since then, and because my family is well off, it is a pretty advanced one to the point where it just looks like I just have two normal legs. Whenever I wear long trousers, which I usually do because I'm really self-conscious about showing my prosthetic. These days I can pretty much do anything I like without issues. Walking, running, going upstairs, etc. The main issue is keeping my balance when there are sudden changes in movement. In places like trains and buses, which is where the topic of this post comes in. I was riding the train and sat down in the seat reserved for disabled, elderly and pregnant women. It was pretty busy, so there were no other seats available. And a few stops later a woman came up to me telling me I needed to move because she needs that seat and I shouldn't be sitting there. I told her I was sorry, but I needed the seat myself. She got all argumentative that I just need to get up because the seat is meant for the elderly and I'm just a lazy child who is more than capable of standing. I again apologized and said I really needed the seat myself. She left and got the train conductor, who also told me to get up from the seat. I was really done with being treated this way now. So I rolled up my trouser leg, showed my prosthetic and told her I wasn't going to move. She suddenly got very red-faced and mumbled something before she got off at the next station. Am I the asshole? I could have said I have a prosthetic right away. But it's a really touchy subject for me and it makes me feel very self-conscious. That's why I always wear long trousers so nobody can see or has to know. Not the asshole. We're all built differently. I'd have just pulled up my pant leg and been like, you fucking serious? But you did it differently and more politely than would have done. You cannot possibly be an asshole for handling it more graciously than most would. Not the asshole. No one is obligated or entitled to know your disability. You shouldn't have to prove that you belong in a disabled space. Some disabilities are less obvious or even invisible. This woman and especially the train conductor had no right to question you. It was inappropriate and unprofessional. Not the asshole. Anyone who wants to take things to that degree to try to get you in trouble needs to be put in their place. You are not required to tell the world your situation. She forced your hand. Maybe she will think twice next time. Not the asshole. We don't need to reveal our disabilities or conditions to every rondo. The train conductor is a proper official, so you did what is necessary. Not the asshole. I'd be fuming that either she or the conductor just assumed and informed you that you don't need the seat. They aren't entitled to know your disability and should, at the most, ask you if you can stand up, to which the answer is no. I am unable to stand for lengthy periods on moving vehicles. The end. Not the asshole. You shouldn't have to talk about your health medical status to strangers. People need to check their privilege. Just because it's uncommon for a young person to have a disability doesn't mean you should assume any teenager sat there is doing it selfishly. I've seen groups of teenagers chavs make sure others move for elderly, pregnant or disabled people. They may have hoodies on, but 99 still have a moral compass. In any way. Not the asshole. Invisible illnesses exist. Yes, you can physically show her your prosthetic, but you shouldn't have to, and there are many other people who can't show their illness, like COPD or cystic fibrosis, for one example out of many. There is a fair likelihood that if you casually said, I have a disability, and she would have walked away understanding, but an equal likelihood she would have demanded some kind of proof or demand that as a teenager you can't be disabled or some other ridiculousness. You did nothing wrong. Keep on trucking. Not the asshole, she deserved her comeuppance. So frigging not the asshole, it is wholly unacceptable that she made you go to this level. You are disabled and you absolutely should not be humiliated into undressing to show some dollar hole. The circumstances you live with every day. Not all disabilities are visible or easy to prove. People shouldn't be assuming things, or people shouldn't have to prove something they possibly can't. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. There's a whole subsection of the general public that refuses to believe anyone with an appearance of being under age 30 without a glaringly obvious disability, wheelchair, crutches, obviously missing a limb, is capable of being sick or disabled because they're young. And even if they somehow prove they're sick, the other person still demands they get up because they're young. The woman deserved to be shamed. Not the asshole. I'm sorry this happened to you. See, I would have unseated my leg while she was gone and then gotten up if she came over again and fell over and screamed bloody murder that my leg fell off. Oh, wait, it's a prosthetic. I'm okay. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Lots of people have invisible disabilities such as weakness from chemotherapy. That lady may find herself in your situation someday. We never know when fate visits and says tag, you're it. Not the asshole. Not all disabilities are visible or immediately visible. Hopefully that woman learned a valuable lesson. Not the asshole. Those seats are for the disabled, which the elderly may or may not be. Not the asshole. I'm sorry this happened to you. I could have said I have a prosthetic right away. Yes, you could have. But she probably would have said you're lying and you'd have had to show her your prosthetic leg. Anyway, not the asshole. Not the asshole. I have an invisible disability. No should be the end of it. She has no rights to your medical history. Not the asshole. Even if you told her, she would not have believed you. There are a lot of hidden disabilities in this world. My cousin's daughter has MS. She gets dizzy every time she stands up. She has to use the handicap stall in bathrooms because she needs the grab bars. People can be really rude to her about it. Not the asshole. This is an Aviva Drescher moment and I have nothing but respect for you for it. Not the asshole, and hopefully she learned a thing or two about how not all disabilities are immediately visible. As a person with invisible disabilities, thank you for sticking to your guns. Not the asshole. You told her that you needed the seat, which is true. You didn't just ignore her. Or just say no. As others have said, you don't have to prove your disability. You should probably report the conductor for accommodations training. You shouldn't have to reveal your disability. And a lot of people have no physical proof of disability. Saying, I'm disabled and have a right to sit here should be enough for anybody. Not the asshole, and I wonder if you could contact someone at the train company to complain, since the conductor was also blatantly discriminating against you. Not the asshole. But also there's no need to be self-conscious about having a prosthetic leg. I cannot believe the train conductor was just going to tell you to get up. What if you had a completely invisible disability like narcolepsy? Hell, what if you were just feeling dizzy from skipping breakfast? If you felt you needed the seat, you shouldn't have to prove it to anyone. WTH. To avoid having to deal with quite so much idiocy in the future, maybe try making direct eye contact and saying something like, you might want to consider right now that someone of any age can have a disability and doesn't have to disclose it to you, which usually will hip check their processor enough to realize they've made an assumption while not requiring you to show strangers your leg. Not the asshole. You don't owe anyone your medical history. 90% of the time, someone sitting in a disabled seat is doing so in good faith. People should just leave people alone.
Am I the asshole? For telling my M26GFF28 to shut up after she woke me up at 2 a.m. by yelling at me. We live together and I work tomorrow morning and she is off, so I go to bed before her around 11 p.m. no problem. I am woken up at 2 a.m. to her asking if the AC is on. I am confused and groggy so I don't respond fast. She starts yelling at me saying the room is too hot and she doesn't Am I the asshole? Husband's side of the family is pressuring us to give them a green card. My husband's family is Ukrainian living in Russia and Italy at the moment. We have invited his dad to visit us in Washington, and while during the week that he stayed with us he managed to throw a huge temper tantrum because he demanded that we apply for a green card to our household, but it's never enough because her standards are too damn high. She insists one of us has to be up at 6:45 every morning to make sure the kids are ready and make the bus which comes at 7:45. I told her they're old enough to not need that much help already. They can all dress themselves and pour themselves cereal and milk, there's no reason we have to be up. She says that cereal isn't a good enough breakfast, they need something more substantial, especially the 12-year-old. And that the 10-year-old has ADHD and will definitely struggle without help in the morning, and anyway she wants to see them off and kiss them goodbye for the day. So she gets up, I don't, then she gets upset that I never give her a morning off when all she needs to do is just take the morning off when she wants and let the kids handle themselves. Also she is super strict about screen time during the week and is exhausted and snappy from arguing about it with the kids and upset I don't support her strict limit of 2 hours a day. I say as long as homework is done, why not until bed? She says it's not healthy for them, they need to play outside or with games and toys, read some books, just entertain themselves in more ways than one. I agree they should enjoy other things, but not seeing why we have to make such a rigid limit. She also likes to get out on weekends and do stuff like zoos, museums etc., but then complains about the planning for the outing and how grouchy the youngest gets by the end of it, and again, I say let's just chill at home and voila, you've cut the work. I'm an engaged and active parent, I'm not trying to get out of it, but I don't think I should have to help my wife dig herself out of her own self-created holes. She creates the stress for herself and then turns to me to alleviate it, which I think is unfair. Am I the asshole? For telling her she needs to do less and then she won't need this level of help. This is how this reads: my wife is a hands-on, active parent who wants our children to have well-balanced meals, minimal screen time, and fun and stimulating outings, and that's too much work for me. I'd prefer my kids eat whatever they can find in the kitchen without bothering me, that we stay home and do nothing and the kids play on their devices and watch TV in their spare time. No wonder she's stressed. She sounds like a great parent, and you come off sounding lazy and disinterested in parenting your own kids. You're the asshole. I'm an engaged and active parent. Does anybody but you think this? You're the asshole. Breakfast, a screen time limit and weekend activities are absolutely normal standards. You're the asshole. What exactly is your definition of an engaged parent? Because what I'm seeing here is you think it's unreasonable to cook elementary and middle school aged children a decent breakfast and spend time with them so they don't rot their brain with phones and iPads. I'm an engaged and active parent. You don't sound like it. There are things a parent has to do for children in the mornings. Your youngest is 8. Cereal is nothing but sugar, a lot of moms don't want their kids to eat that every day. 2 hours of screen time is generous, not strict. You sound rather checked out. You're the asshole. You want an 8-year-old to get up, fix their own cereal, and leave for the bus on time while you sleep in? That's not an engaged and active parent. That would feel awful to me if I were a kid. You're the asshole. Trust me, your wife is already making one huge concession in her expectations by putting up with your lazy ass. You're the asshole. Get to work or it won't be long before your wife realizes how pointless you are and decides to cut you loose. You're the asshole. I was expecting some wacko Marie Kondo request, but making breakfast for the kids, limit 2 hours of screen time a day and do some family activity. I am wondering what is at this point your concept of engaged parent? Here you go, watch your tablet. You're the asshole. Your wife's expectations are extremely normal. You seem to want to get out of everything. Zero effort. You need to step up and actually parent. You're the asshole. Her rules and actions seem sensible. 3 young kids getting up and getting themselves to school on their own sounds like a zoo. And morning is a great time to have fun and productive parenting interactions. 2 hours of screen time is plenty, and it should not be permitted to displace other activities with strong positives such as reading and free play. You should be supporting her. You're the arsehole. I love how your suggestion for helping your wife is just her doing more work, the work to lower her standards. Your kids are still at an age where they could use help and support in the mornings and a healthy breakfast. She isn't wrong. Sounds like she's exhausted from planning all of this by herself and carrying the mental load. Instead of saying all of this is unnecessary and your solution being to stay at home, eat cereal and watch TV all of the time, try to be a more involved parent and partner and take some of the mental load from your wife. You're the arsehole. Newsflash: you are not, in fact, an engaged and active parent. Sorry bud, but as a father myself, these are pretty reasonable standards, at least the weekday ones. Maybe half adventure half rest on the weekends. You're the arsehole. I'm of course happy to help and do my fair share for the kids or household, yet you complain when she asks for help. But I don't think I should have to help my wife dig herself out of her own self-created holes. It's not like you're lifelong partners or anything. You're the arsehole for sure. She sounds like she has 4 kids tbh. They're old enough to not need that much help already. So if you leave them to get up and get ready for school on their own, are they on time for the bus? Have you actually seen this work? More than once? You're the arsehole OP because you sound lazy and actually not engaged at all. You're the arsehole. I really wanted to be on your side for this one, but nope. Your children are 8 and 10, of course they need help getting up and need a more substantial breakfast than cereal. The 12-year-old I could see beginning to get up on their own, emphasis on beginning. Your wife seems like a great parent looking out for her children's health and development with more activities than sit on your iPad and never bond with your family. Even from your point of view, you don't sound like an active parent at all. You need to read some books on parenting FR and help your wife out. I'm an engaged and active parent. No, you're not. Your will to help if the bare minimum is being done. If anyone expects more than the bare minimum, then you stay in bed and let your wife do it. You're the arsehole. Yup, you're the arsehole 100. Have fun being divorced when your wife decides she doesn't need a lazy do-nothing partner in her life. So let me make sure I understand: you are advocating for completely neglecting your parental duties in favor of sleeping in, not feeding your kids, not worrying about how they spend their time, not bothering with any activities or enrichment for them, and yet somehow you still think you are an engaged and active parent. You, sir, are the You're the arsehole. Let me say it again: you're the arsehole. Your wife's self-created holes are called parenting. Sounds like you ought to try it. Or maybe she'll get lucky and her next husband won't be worthless, lazy, and neglectful and totally unsupportive. You're the arsehole. You're happy to help as long as it doesn't actually involve being engaged or active in the raising and parenting of your kids. She's overwhelmed because of your underwhelming approach to parenting. May your wife realize she's already a single parent of 3, so she may as well make it official and get some outside help. You're the arsehole. Your wife is a very good parent, and you are less so. You're the arsehole. You are neither an active nor an engaged parent. You're the arsehole lazy schlub. You're the arsehole. Your wife's standards are normal and required for being a parent. You absolutely have to be awake to get your minor children on the bus. One of them has ADHD and the youngest is 8, for God's sakes. You are not an engaged and active parent if you think 2 hours of screen time a day is too little and won't wake up to ensure your children, all 12 and under, are fed, dressed, and get to school on time. This can't be real. Your wife is overwhelmed because you can't, or won't, give a shit. Am I the arsehole? For demanding my cousin reimburse me for her kids? So I am a Dragon Ball fan. It's something I've loved since I was a child and I bought some merchandise over the years. Basically I had a shelf in my room with some figures, some sets of Dragon Balls and a Goku drawing I worked really hard on. My cousin comes over unannounced today with her 3 kids, and now I love my cousin and her kids. I don't mind them stopping by even when I'm not there. My cousin's been like older sister mother to me all of my life. She told me they stopped by my place because the kids wanted to see me. I let her know I'll be back in a few minutes. I had just left to go buy some groceries. I return home, put my groceries up and speak with her and the kids. All is going well until the 14-year-old asks me for some money. I deny her request as I don't get paid for another week and nothing special is happening, so I'm not just out here giving money away. She gets infuriated and says I let her down. And yada yada. It's whatever to me, and we chill for a few hours and they leave. That was yesterday. I come home from work today and get a text from the 16-year-old saying I'm sorry Unc, she just said she left something there. I'm mainly relaxed since she has a habit of leaving things, and I go to my room. My shelf is annihilated, everything is thrown down and broken, all the figures are missing body parts, my Dragon Balls are broken, and that drawing I spent 3 months on finishing is cut to shreds. And some of my hoodies and shirts are gone, my Capsule Corp hat is gone. I broke down crying and called their mom. I tell her I need her key back and tell her what her daughter did. I then let her know she owes me about $1,500 over this, and this is me being generous. I've spent well over $3,000 on this whole thing, but I needed something back for this. She tells me she'll give me the key, but I'll be seeing no money from this. I tell her it's her responsibility since they are her kids, and she also just leaves the key open and in the world when I said it's meant for her, not her whole family. She said she didn't care and I'm not getting any money, that's it. I've banned her from my house until she pays me, and she says so be it and refuses to pay me, saying it's my fault for not locking my game room door. That door doesn't even have a lock. Am I the asshole for demanding she pay me back? Not the asshole. File a police report and report the loss to your insurance. If you don't have insurance, get it for future losses. A kid doesn't get money for no reason and then destroys a ton of property and steals your shit. That kid needs help. Your cousin isn't doing them any favors. FFS, this is an infuriating story. Edit: the 16-year-old helped the 14-year-old destroy and steal your property. Their mother doesn't care. She won't even partially reimburse you or hold her children accountable for their crime. Not the asshole. The 14-year-old is old enough to have to deal with the consequences of this, and I would have understood if cousin would have said she can't pay you back right away but we'll figure out some type of payment scheme. But the way she reacted is ridiculous. Makes me almost wonder if the money wasn't for 14-year-old but something else. Also info, how much was she asking for? Not the asshole. I would escalate the hell out of this, maybe even call the police and or take her to small claims. Not the asshole. Go to the police. I hate when people think they can get away with shit like this because they're family. File a complaint against her and take her to small claims court. Her kid wrecked and stole for over $3,000 worth. The mom doesn't care about your loss. F her. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. File a police report. Not the asshole. The children are minors, so your cousin is responsible for their actions, and this was most definitely not an accident. Even if your cousin couldn't pay this back herself, if she had a shred of integrity, she would make her kid get a job to pay you back for the damage they did. However, seeing as she did nothing to make up for the damage, and even tried to blame you for it, I can see where her kids get their morality. Change your locks instead of getting the key back. That way you know for damn sure your cousin's teenaged meat sirens can't get in the house and do more destruction. X200B. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. If she doesn't pay you back, file a report with the police and claim on your insurance if you have any. File the report either way. Not the asshole, but do take her to small claims court. Not the asshole, but you'll never get your money back and your relationship with your cousin and her awful daughter is over. How she can defend her kid's behavior is crazy to me. I'm so sorry your things were destroyed. You could try filing in small claims court. File a vandalism report with the police and take her to small claims court. Also, the kid doesn't get one single gift or 1 red cent ever again. Assuming you live alone, why the heck would you need to lock a door to your game room? Cousin is grasping at straws. 14 is certainly old enough to know that actions have consequences. 14 needs to figure out a way to pay you back and or somehow make it up to you to your satisfaction. Insurance may help you out in the short term, but they'll want a police report. Not the asshole. By the way, it sounded like there were items missing. Let police know that in your report you might be able to get some things back. I'm thinking cousin was planning to sell them. Not the asshole. She has told you how she feels and obviously doesn't care to raise her kids right. Send her a message letting her know she now has 24 to 48 hours to pay you back or you will be filing a police report. Tell her that her and the 2 kids is banned from seeing and visiting you until further notice. That way the innocent one doesn't suffer. This is not a toddler, this was a 14-year-old girl, so she is spoiled and should be treated as such. No gifts nor extras for a long time, and the parent also. Wait, the 14-year-old asked for money, but the 16-year-old is the one who went back to the house on the pretense of having left something there, to commit destruction? Why, and why then did you mention the younger one asking for money? It's irrelevant. Also, why not tell their mom her daughter is paying for it? She can get a job or a police report gets filed. Not the asshole. File a police report. File a police report ASAP. Not the asshole. Sue her if you can. Not the asshole, obviously. Please file a police report and update us on what happens. My inner sense of justice is freaking out right now and I need your cousin to pay, literal figurative. File a police report and sue in small claims for the whole amount. Settle for $1,500 to drop the charges if you really want to. Not the asshole. As a juvenile probation officer who deals with delinquents daily, my recommendation is that you call the police and file a report. Depending on what state you're in, the juvenile delinquents will get charged with a crime. If this report came into my office, I would be requesting that the prosecutor file criminal mischief charges on each of these 2 children, the driver and the younger child who did the damage. I would then, when we go to court, recommend that the court order the parent to pay restitution to you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Small claims court it is. As others have said, file a police report and go after her in small claims court. I think you need to file a police report. That's a lot of money and that's a lot of damage, and if nothing else, you need it on file. And you need to change your locks, and I suspect you will no longer be able to have a relationship with her or her children, since she clearly doesn't see anything wrong with what her child did. And it's not your fault. You locked your apartment. You shouldn't need to lock that game room. Not the asshole, and I'm really sorry this happened. Do take pictures of everything and do file a report. Not the asshole, but everyone else is. I'm sorry. WTF. Did she even apologize on behalf of her daughter? What did she have to say in regards to her kid's egregious behavior? I have a 14-year-old kid. I could never see her being that disgustingly disrespectful. You may have seen this aunt as a second mom, but she did not see you as her child. You're not the asshole. And over you not letting her have money. The 16-year-old should have known better than to just let that shit happen. Just wow. I'm sorry. You should ask yourself, if you went to their home and destroyed a bunch of their valuables, would they go to the police or small claims? Your only options are go that route first or get revenge by behaving the exact same way.